I am Isamoni.
And I am Nanikia Mensah Brampa. Coming up tonight in the headlines.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by Deluxipaid, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Premier Health Insurance, Calipo, and Nido Fortigro. Your love, their future.
Right, so top of the bulletin this evening, Standards Authority takes delivery of samples of contaminated tilapia from Isuchare for investigations.
Viral video of NDC youth organizer aspirant stirs controversy as he's seen inciting party vigilante group, the Hawks.
Also on mission tonight, officers of Uchado DA Primary School in Pandai District operates from a kitchen.
And in international news tonight, Saudi Arabia claims journalist Jamal Khashoggi died from a fight inside the consulate in Istanbul.
Right, remember you can stay interactive with us. We are also live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana and DSTV channel 279. Let's settle for the detail now from the Bunafo region, where drivers at the Brekum Japekrum area have refused to ply the area for fear of their lives. Now 2 vehicles were bent as well as a motorbike during the incident.
Commercial activities in both Japekrum and Drobo grinded to a halt following the clashes. Passengers plying the stretch were stranded for hours. Eventually, security personnel had to escort them out of the town to continue their journey. Some of them spoke to TV3.
We wanted a vehicle to move to our various destinations and then look and see our wives and then our children. In fact, we don't even have a place to even have access to food to even buy. Since morning around 7:30.
Anything can happen. Until my new police escort, I need police escort before I can go.
And though the proliferation of vigilante groups in Ghana has been widely attributed by many scholars to the failure of the political party leaders to crack down on their activities, the comment of political party leaders to support the fight has come under serious scrutiny recently. A video intercepted by TV3 cast doubts over whether the fight against the menace will end anytime soon. There is more in the following report.
The said video, which has since gone viral on social media, captures Ashanti Regional Youth Organizer of the opposition NDC, Broja Jemfi, urging members of the vigilante group, the Hawks, to take all steps to protect members of the NDC in the run-up to the 2020 elections.
MPP for police station.
Unlike the NPP vigilante groups that have distracted court proceedings and the likes, we are focused on the election 2020.
Will heavily rely on you.
We have the backing of the party's general secretary.
Weeks ago, Director of Elections of the NDC, Samuel Ofosu Ampofo, denied any knowledge of the Hawks group when reports went rife that it offered security services at the party's recent regional executive elections. The menace has been on the ascendancy since the governing MPP took office, with many of the groups linked to 2 major political parties, NPP and NDC. Some security experts have, for instance, predicted their activities could spell doom for the country if not controlled.
They have become a serious threat to our democracy. The IGP, he should call the political parties to a roundtable discussion to come out with a roadmap as to what they think is the way, in their own estimation, to eradicating these things, and then give a zero tolerance to any political party that engages in this activity.
A civil society group, Patriotic Front Movement of Ghana, few weeks ago petitioned government, the police administration, and the two major political parties to urgently deal with various vigilante groups or face them in court. With a surge in their activities and the massive support they enjoy from their paymasters, it will be a tall order for their dominance to be subdued by the security agencies.
All right, Broja Jemfi is the current NDC youth organizer for the Shanti region and an aspirant youth organizer. And he has joined us on phone. Broja, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. How about you too?
Very good indeed. You were seen in that video which we just showed speaking to a group of NDC followers who are deemed to be called the Hawks. And so many things have come out, but the first question to you is that, would you think the police would be justified? Should they pick you up for the comments you were found to be making to the group of people right there?
Well, thanks for the opportunity in the first place. I don't think that this is any serious security matter. This is a video of myself and some members of the Hawks, which has become necessary for the NDC to engage in order that we can protect our members and protect the ballots in the 2020 elections. And I was only encouraging them and assuring them that the party will heavily rely on them to protect our members in the upcoming election. I don't think that this causes any security breach or security threat to call for an arrest or invitation from any security agent.
Brother, vigilantism has been condemned by all. So what is your motivation for engaging them to undertake such activity during elections?
Well, for me, this is positive vigilantism. You know, the NPP over the years have carried themselves in a certain way. And you are witnesses to this. They enter the court, scatter the places, and free corporates. They go to the police station and they are able to, disarm the police and free people who are in custody. They beat security agency officers, they attack police officers, and nothing is being done to these guys. Recently, the attack on the Tapo Pankrono MP, who is a minister of state and has a police bodyguard, he had to run away from a meeting. So we cannot trust this system going into an election and knowing the nature of the NPP. So it is only fair that if nobody is speaking against this terrorist action, then the NDC must prepare itself to counter these terrorism. So this is just a counter-terrorist group.
So the incident you just mentioned. Hello, brother, are you there?
I'm here, please.
Yeah, the incident you just mentioned, what step did you take to report to the police? I mean, if you found some people you describe as MPP supporters and they were doing something that you think were breaking the laws in this country, what step did you take to report them to the security agencies?
Your question only leads me to recount what happened when all of these actions, was reported in the media. The police arrested some of these guys. They were put before court, only for the Attorney General, who sits in cabinet with the President, to pass a nollie prosequi. So these actions have gone on, all of us have seen it, and no action has been taken, in order to punish them. The police take action, they get to a point, their hands are tied, they have to forget about it. So it's not a matter of reporting to the police. It is a matter of ensuring that these guys are treated as criminals as they have become. And the laws must deal with them. So if the law is failing to deal with such people, then we get into a state of anarchy. There's no law and order. People must begin to think about how we can protect ourselves. And in politics, in this game, a level playing field is important for any political party to assess its strength. And if the police is afraid of an MPP that goes around terrorizing everybody, and you are a serious political party that wants power, you will be thinking about how to protect your people and the ballot.
All right. We're grateful for your time, Broja Jemfi. He is a youth aspirant organizer for the youth position in the NDC in the Ashanti region. Broja, thank you very much for speaking to us.
You're watching NEWS360. Let's look at one of our developing stories in the health sector. And the Ghana Standards Authority has taken delivery of contaminated tilapia from Chinese Fujian company as they begin investigations into cause of the mass tilapia death. The Environmental Protection Agency and the Food and Drugs Authority are all waiting for the results, which are due in 2 weeks.
The Chinese firm, Fujian Farms, has been struggling to find solution to the mass deaths of its tilapia. Already, more than 30 trucks of dead tilapia have been disposed of, while more are reported to be dying. The decaying tilapia are not being well disposed of, as management of the company lack the requisite knowledge on how to go about it. A team from the Environmental Protection Agency, led by its Director of Natural Resources, Carl Fiati, was on an evidence-finding mission to the farm to ascertain the actual cause of deaths after management of the farm wrote to them requesting their assistance.
In the previous years, there has been occasional fish kills along this side of the lake, but this, from the report and then the video clips that they sent to us, it looks like this is an exceptional case, and so we want to look critically into it.
According to Carl Fiati, sampling has been done and some of the tilapia have been collected for further investigations. He is confident they would unravel the cause in 2 weeks. On the issue of the gross smuggling of the decaying tilapia onto the market, he explained it would require the respective assemblies in the area to deal with it. Meanwhile, some workers of the company are accusing their employers for looking on unconcerned when the fishmongers collected the dead tilapia to be processed for the market. The workers, who for the fear of losing their jobs spoke on condition of anonymity, also said there is no direct supervision and so their employers do not adhere to best practices. A resident told the news team how the entire Asuchari community is suffering because of the negative practices by the company.
Some years ago, this is the river which our forefathers were drinking, but since the white men came, the things we saw in the river or passing, because of that we didn't drink the river. Up to now we are buying pure water.
Right, so TV3 News has gathered that the Standards Authority has taken delivery of samples of contaminated tilapia from Isuchari for investigations, but ideally one would expect the FDA, that is the Food and Drugs Authority, to have taken that. But joining us on the phone to give us some answers to this particular one is James Latte, who is the head of communications at the FDA. Mr. Latte, we are grateful for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
Right, now we know that the FDA was to take charge of investigations regarding the 1,800 tons of tilapia that died in the Chinese firm. So how did it end up in the hands of the Standards Authority?
How did it end up in the hands of?
Yes, how did it end up with the Standards Authority?
Okay. In actual fact, let me explain. When it comes to tilapia or fish production, it falls under the Ministry of Fisheries and not actually the FDA. The FDA comes in when issues of safety arises. That is where we come in. Now, in this particular instance, when the issue happened, the Fisheries Department, EPA, FDA, and other institutions went in. And then together, samples were taken to the Ghana Standard Authority because they have the facilities to be able to test, to ascertain what actually caused the death of the fishes. So, well, we are all waiting to get the results from the Ghana Standard Authority. What we are guarding against now is to ensure that the product, that is the product, will not continue to be pilfered into the market. But that is what we are all ensuring, that it is not done.
And how are you ensuring? Because I know that some of these fish was smuggled, and I'm sure definitely it would be heading towards the markets. What is the FDA doing to ensure that it doesn't get onto the market?
It becomes difficult looking at something like tilapia. It will be very difficult if the tilapia has gone to the market for you to be able to say that, oh, this particular tilapia is coming from the fish pond or that area. It will be quite difficult. Well, those that have gone, they've gone. I know the police are there at the moment. That's what they are all helping. And other institutions to ensure that this will not continue. The only advice we will give to the general public is that if maybe you patronize tilapia and you are not so confident on the source of the tilapia that is on the market at the moment, the best is to avoid it. That is the best thing to do, just to avoid it.
So does this sound like a ban, sort of some short ban on tilapia, because we don't know what we are eating on the market? We are not too sure whether it's contaminated or not.
There's a difference between a ban and advising yourself against a product. That is two different things. What we are saying now is that, yes, we agree that with the pictures that came out and everything, there's every possibility that part of the consignment might have gotten onto the market. So as a consumer, if you like tilapia, and for some reasons you cannot ascertain the source of that particular tilapia that you might be buying, the best is just to avoid it. And that is not a ban.
Okay, so it means you should be aware of what you eat, if I'm sure. All right. We are so grateful for your time, James Latte, who is the head of communications at the FDA. And now the Bunkurubu Nakpanduri District Chief Executive conducts official activities on foot and on motorbikes. Ibatiboka reports the assembly has no vehicle for the Chief Executive to facilitate his work.
Alhaji Majid Doots is the newly appointed DCE for the newly carved Twin District Bunkurubu Nakpanduri, with 29 out of 30 assembly members representing 96.6%, confirming him into the high office of the District Chief Executive Office. Alhaji Majid Doots says he has a lot on his plate to deliver. Carved out of Bunkurubu Yonyo 6 months ago, the Bunkurubu Nakpanduri district is challenged, and Alhaji Majid Doots is required to fix the challenges. Bunkurubu Nakpanduri economic activities hinge mainly on crop and animal production.
In the next few years, my plans are that improving the health sector, education, my mother sector, agric is something that we are already on top in the northern region. So we need just a little push to climb to the ladder.
Alhaji Majid Doots' overall vision is to improve on the living standards of the people of the town of the Twin District, focusing on agriculture, but he has no means of transport and he conducts official duties using motorbikes and sometimes on foot.
It's a problem. We have one old pickup that the coordinating director is managing with. No, I can't just be sitting down and saying because of no transport, I should be sitting down. So I brought in my vehicle from Tamale, but the nature of the road, the vehicle got broken.
In a borrowed vehicle to visit a washed-away bridge on the Kabatiak-Nasiabok Road connecting over 30 major farming communities in Togo, the vehicle broke down. Although the DCE is not complaining, his people say it is appropriate he is giving an official vehicle. Until he gets one, he will continue to serve the people on foot and on motorbikes.
To the Volta Regional Management and students of Avetime Senior High School in that region want a storm drain constructed in the school. They complained of water gushing from a mountainous area and flooding their campus.
The school, established in 1966, has an enrollment of about 600 students, which has been attributed to 8 locations. Situated close by the Gemi Mountain, the campus is usually flooded. The community members affirm the school was sited on the waterway. Having been told the Minister for Special Development Initiative, Hawa Kumsing, was in town, the chiefs and people stayed up late to meet her. Their request was a storm drain to address their perennial problem.
Why did you even opt for the school to be sited here?
This was the nearness to the community. And by then, the challenges were not so much as they are now. because the deforestation and other functions have increased the volume of water running through the campus. We hope their intervention with the storm drain will solve the problem, and the campus will be a living place for the students to increase academic work.
Howard Compson assured them of taking the matter up.
With the storm drain, it's not within our means. So we'll talk to the Works and Housing Ministry, because that one is capital intensive. We cannot take that one.
And let's move to the northern part of the country, where lack of incubators is affecting healthcare services for children at the Baptist Medical Center in Nalerugu in the East Mamprusi district of the northern region. Ivati Boka reports neonates at the facility depend on 2 faulty incubators.
Baptist Medical Center in Nalerugu in the East Mamprusi districts of the northern region serves 144 communities. The hospital records over 300 deliveries monthly. Hospital officials say most babies are delivered prematurely. Pressure is therefore mounting on the facility for neonatal health care services.
Here we get higher deliveries, so we do get most of the women having premature preterm babies. As you can see, this girl, 16 years, the baby is small. If the baby were to be big, then she'll go through cesarean section. But because the baby is small, she's able to deliver. Malaria can also cause premature delivery.
Incubators will have helped in saving lives here, but the facility is challenged. The work of hospital officials have been compounded with 2 underperforming incubators. At the time of our visit to the facility, these 2 babies had been paired in one of the incubators.
We have only 2. They are not functioning well. Sometimes you put it on, it will work and go off by itself. It affects the babies because sometimes when it goes off, inside will not be warm because we are giving warmth to the babies.
The pediatrics ward cannot boast of a proper functioning incubator. The other non-functioning incubator sits gathering dust. Officials complained their work is highly hampered and their only means of relief is the kangaroo method. The kangaroo method is a process where babies are tied to their mothers with clothes to keep them warm.
Yearly we deliver more than 3,000 patients. It's not the best, but actually trying our best to do what we can within our resource. We are appealing to government and other foundations, especially Rebecca Foundation, to come to our aid.
Fortunately, the Baptist Medical Center has no record of infant mortality despite the absence of a functioning incubator.
Beautiful baby. But I think I'm going to make my contributions to Kwame Sefakan to send some incubators to Nalerugu
the
to help
focus
the
shouldn't
babies.
always be within the greater Accra region. We should go to
Absolutely.
the rural areas too for more attention in terms of
Absolutely.
incubators.
So Kwame, there you are. You're watching News 360, also available on channel 279 on DSTV. Still to come tonight. Offices of Richardo DA Primary School in Pandai District operate from a kitchen.
And later on the foreign front, Saudi Arabia claims journalist Jamal Khashoggi died from a fight inside consulate in Istanbul. Stay with us, we'll be right back with Mission. This is News 360 and it's time for Mission supported by Star Ghana with funding from Danida, UK Aid and the European Union. The Uchado DA Primary School in the Pandai district of the Northern region is grappling with access to classroom blocks. Now the school currently operates its offices from a kitchen of a resident in the community.
Established more than a decade ago, the Uchado DA Primary School continued to provide formal basic education to more than 100 pupils in 4 adjoining communities in the Pandai district. Deprived, desolate and neglect are few words that can best describe the current state of the school. Children here are poised to acquire basic education, but the conditions under which they learn have eventually prevented many from coming to school, although the school is just about 100 meters from the community. The school was established without a fiscal structure, Hence, pupils learned under poor conditions until the Parents-Teacher Association erected this mud structure to protect both pupils and teachers from bad weather. But 3 years on, the structure could no longer serve its purpose, compelling school authorities to establish classrooms under trees for kindergarten pupils. The PTA again moved in to put up a shed which now accommodates classes 1 to 6 pupils. The shed has been divided into 2 and each accommodates 3 classes. The issue of inadequate teachers is a worry. The Uchado Basic School has no office space and so they share a kitchen with residents of the community. Their books are often stolen.
All the time we talk to the owner of the house to always make sure that he keep his eyes on the books.
District Chief Executive for Kwandai, Emmanuel Tatablata, is confident the problems facing the Uchado Basic School can be addressed.
We are not going to be discriminative. We are going to look at the issues, and I think they will be getting a structure. I wouldn't be able to give timelines because we are also considering about the enrollment as and when the opportunity comes, which place that is higher, scale of preference. We have some other places that are more needing than the other. We are not trying to say that these people are not very important.
Uchado is a busy farming community, and for some parents, educating their children is not a priority. Most pupils here do not bath before going to school. It's a Monday morning, and most children who turned up for school had not taken their bath. This, according to the head teacher, Yunkum Kando Abraham, is a daily ritual.
Well, those who don't bath, anytime we ask their parents, their mothers normally says the children themselves have to fetch water and go and bath. But we tell them that it is not necessary that the children should go and fetch water to go and bath. This young one, how can they bath?
Chairman of the Parents-Teacher Association attributed the trend to parents' ignorance. A parent also explained why they often relegate the educational needs of their children.
They have other children elsewhere, those who are in senior high, junior high, and then so they have to assist their husbands in taking care of them. That is why sometimes they get up early in the morning, then go to farm. It isn't that they don't want to take care of the children, but it is the poverty.
Poverty is rife in Uchado and its adjoining communities, and so it will require intervention by key stakeholders to sensitize parents on the need to educate their children. Government would also have to provide the school with a befitting fiscal structure to complement efforts to achieve United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4, which promotes universal access to education and lifelong learning for all by 2030.
Right, so let's remain a while in the northern region where pupils of the Bladai DA Primary School in the Kwandai district are compelled to bring firewood from home before they benefit from the school feeding program. Interestingly, the caterers say they are not aware they are supposed to provide water and firewood themselves.
This is how a new week begins at the Bladai Basic School. At about 7:30 a.m., many of the pupils had reported to school in their numbers, but only 2 teachers are reported to school. The Bladai School serves about 4 communities and has increased enrollment because it is a beneficiary of the school feeding program. However, pupils are made to bring firewood and water to school each day before meals are prepared and served. This has been the practice over the last 1 year that the school was enrolled onto the school feeding program. The health of the pupils has been compromised as containers used to carry the water are not hygienic. Not all water brought are clean, but no inspection is done before they are used for preparing the meals. Water left after preparing the meals is what the entire school depends on when thirsty. Pupils do not bring cups to school, and so they drink from these gallons. There are 2 polytanks in the school, but authorities say they have not been repaired after developing faults about 2 years ago. The assistant head teacher of the school said the practice of pupils bringing firewood to school is nothing new.
Frankly speaking, for the feeding program, this time the way they do it, they say it's
is different from what they were doing previously. So we didn't want to go deep into this feeding program, or maybe we might lose it.
He also indicated teachers periodically educate the pupils to observe personal hygiene.
As for the water, always at assembly ground, we tell them when you are bringing the water, make sure that the container is clean, because they are going to use the water that you are providing to cook food for you. So if you bring bad water and they use it to cook, you'll be affected. Definitely we have waterborne disease. It's not rampant.
The caterers say they do not know that bringing firewood and water was part of their duties.
I
do not know the details of the contract. I was asked to cook for the pupils.
It would be recalled that 6 months ago, TV3 Mission reported on a similar situation at the Mbrowa DA Primary School, also in the Kpandai district, and this was the reaction of District Education Director.
That should not be the practice, because children are not supposed to bring firewood, because if you are the caterer, it behoves on you to bring firewood to prepare meals for the children. I myself will go there, find out from whom the caterer is, and then I'd talk to the caterer to change the attitude of asking school children to bring firewood and then fetching water for their meals to be prepared. If he doesn't change, then I will be compelled to report it to the district assembly so that together we'll take action.
Since then, there's not been any supervision. In the case of the Blajai DA Basic School, much is required to be done because the school also lacks furniture and has had portions of its roof perforated. The situation, teachers say, impacts on the school's performance.
All right, so that's our mission for tonight, supported by Star Ghana with funding from Danida UK Aid and the European Union.
Now let's do some more news on NEWS360 tonight. Despite the caution to residents to desist from building close to electricity power installations, residents at Ni Owoshika have constructed structures under high-tension poles. Maxwell Otu reports there is total disregard for safety.
Research has shown that living next to high-voltage power lines and power transmission network lines increases your risk of contracting cancer and other health problems. The closer you are, the more you are affected by dangerous electromotive force, EMFs. Irrespective of all these life-threatening and health hazards, squatters have comfortably settled under high-tension poles at Ni Owoshika in the Okankwe North Municipality of the Greater Accra region. They have constructed structures under the power lines with little knowledge of its associated health hazards. Mechanical shops, containers and kiosks continue to spring up at the buffer zone, including major roads in the area, yet authorities appear unconcerned. Squatters actively go about their daily chores under these high-tension power lines. They justified their stay there.
I'm aware of the dangers, but I have no money to acquire a better place. I have no idea of the dangers it poses to my health.
The general manager of Crown Prince Academy, a school within the community, explained the activities of the squatters have been affecting academic work.
If you take a walk around our area, you find a lot of squatters day in, day out. We have new developments, and a good number of them are drinking bars. So we find our kids having to walk their way home going through these drinking bars, and some of these places are inhabited by, for the lack of a better word, people that do some criminal activity and so on. It also doesn't speak well for us as a business because we are unable to attract a particular kind of clientele because of the way our area looks.
Right, to some more tonight. Probably you may be thinking that men do not have bigger breasts, so do not risk getting breast cancer. Well, everybody, whether male or female, are born with some breast cells and tissue risk contracting the disease. And even though males do not develop milk-producing breasts, a man's breast cells and tissue can still develop cancer. There's more in this report.
Breast cancer in men is a rare disease. It is usually detected as a hard lump underneath the nipple and areola. Men carry a higher mortality rate than women do, primarily because awareness among men is less and they are less likely to assume a lump is breast cancer, which can cause a delay in seeking treatment. Those who develop breast cancer, the vast majority of those cases are infiltrating ductal carcinoma, which means cells in or around the duct begin to invade surrounding tissue. Less than 1% of all breast cancers occur in men. For the year 2018 alone, about 2,550 men are expected to be diagnosed with the disease. For men, the lifetime risk of being diagnosed with breast cancer is about 1 in 1,000. At a breast screening exercise organized by Media General for its staff, both men and women were encouraged to have their breasts screened.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I think it's very important for young ladies to always seize the opportunity to get their breast examined.
Now and then it's important that you examine yourself, try to find out if you can find lumps or whatever it is, discharge, just to be on the safer side and know that everything is okay.
I got educated as to how to examine, my own breast, maybe that of my wife as well, and my children, if I have any baby girls, to examine them, and also the symptoms to look out for. So this is good.
Group Head, Corporate Affairs, Media General, Richard Ahiable, underscored the importance of early detection.
Every year in October, we dedicate the entire month to educating our viewers and our listeners across all our channels about breast cancer. We feel that if you empower people about breast cancer, it promotes early detection, people can get screened, and then they can go for treatment as well.
Media General, together with the breast unit of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, will organize a charity car wash at Accra Mall on October 27 to raise funds for the unit.
You're on News 360. We'll return shortly with the sports news of the day.
And on entertainment tonight, operators of the Koforidua Cultural Center have been asked by the Minister of Tourism to halt all entertainment activities henceforth. Catherine Afeku, who was on a working visit to the center, said this will make way for renovation works. The contractor has just 14 days to complete the work.
Koforidua Cultural Center building was built in 1964 by Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Between 2001 and 2009, renovation works were started to house offices.
That story later in subsequent bulletins, but well, that would do for the segments, the total bulletin tonight for News 360.
Absolutely. We thank you for watching News 360. There are more updates on 3news.com. Right. My name is Issa Moni.
And I am Nanekia Mensa Brampa. Later at 10, join Grace Hamwa Asare with more news updates on News at 10. Have a good weekend. Good evening.